They moved to Las Vegas expecting sunshine, cheap hotels, no income tax, and now they're moving back to whatever state they came from unbearable heat, unexpected costs, and real estate regrets. Vegas hasn't quite lived up to what they were expecting, and in this video I'm going to break down the top 5 reasons why people might regret moving to Las Vegas and living in Las Vegas, and then also maybe some reasons why people think it's the best decision they've ever made. So number 5 on this list is going to be it's hotter than what people expected, and that might sound crazy because yes, we're in the desert and people already expect it to be hot, but actually it does catch some people out. In July 2025 we had multiple days that went over 115 degrees, and really anything over 110 it just feels hot, and for some people they just can't handle it. You know, it's almost like if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. They take it to be if you can't take the heat, get out of Vegas. But then there are some ways around that, and you know, some of the tips I would give and some of the things we do as a family is if you're going to do errands, either do them early in the morning. My wife is an early riser, or you can do them late in the evening. I'm more of a late night owl, and that's when we try to get a lot of our out of the house things done is when the sun has gone down. Sometimes we'll go to the park with the kids in the evening as well, sort of before the splash pad's about to end around 7-8 p.m. and it's a lot more bearable. We do our walks in the evening as well around about 8 p.m. and this time of year it doesn't feel too hot when you're out at 8 in the evening. If we were doing that at 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, it would be definitely unbearable, and we would be drinking lots of water. I'd end up sunburnt like a lobster, and it just wouldn't be practical. So I think maybe some people don't realize, yes, it actually is going to be hot because they come here as a tourist, coming to the strip, and they're going from air-conditioned casino to air-conditioned casino. It's not quite the same when you're living here, but some people genuinely, they said to me, Peter, Vegas is too hot. I didn't realize it was going to be this hot. I just can't take it, and they end up leaving for that reason. Number 4 on this list is hidden costs that have added up fast. People came here for affordable living, but they didn't actually read the fine print. They forgot about those HOA fees, the energy costs in the summertime, the cost of registration and insurance, and even if they're buying new construction, maybe they haven't actually gone through it all and seen some of those little costs from the builder and the different upgrade costs as well, and they sort of, all of those stack on top of each other and they add up pretty quickly. Those HOA fees can range anywhere from some of the low to basically no HOA, like $6 a month in some areas of Green Valley for instance, all the way up to some guard gated communities. Maybe it's a condo in a guard gated community, you could be looking at, you know, close to maybe $800 plus a month, and some of those exclusive communities are even more on top of that. Then with the energy costs, I've already mentioned about the heat, and the byproduct of that is you're going to have your AC running all the time, practically 24/7. Me and my wife sometimes have a battle. I want it cooler, she wants it warmer, which actually probably makes our AC even less efficient, and you're going to have your AC on all day no matter what, and that's a fact that you're going to have to live with for the summer. And then because of how many DUIs and car accidents there are on the road, how many people are driving here unlicensed, uninsured, our car insurance is actually quite high, and car registration costs as well are quite high. So you need to remember all of those. Some of the things that I would say, if you're looking at new construction, then definitely have a realtor. I'd love to work with you if you are looking at new construction, and a realtor who really knows how to negotiate with those builders. I have another channel that I do with Ryan, and we do the home tours with new construction homes, and we've built really good relationships with those builders that we can use to help you negotiate costs and credits from the builder. If you're looking at insurance costs, I would say there's, you know, I'm a big fan of loyalty, but the one thing I would say you don't have any loyalty in is insurance. You can get multiple quotes and they can vary quite differently. So I'd always say, I know I have a recommended insurance agent I can put you in touch with, and she's amazing, but I'd also say shop around and get the best deal for you and your family. Car registration costs, we can't do anything about those really. The energy bills, I would say, one thing we've done is solar. I think if you're in a position to get solar and you can do it before the end of this year and you can still get the tax credit from it, now is definitely the time to look at getting solar, because then you're controlling that cost, whereas MV Energy will keep going up every single year. At least then it's a controllable cost for you, and I always say you can only control the controllables, so that's one controllable you can definitely cost. And then with HOA, I think if you just have a realtor that knows when there's an overpriced HOA or can explain to you what the HOAs are like if they are going to be too picky, then that's going to help you out as well. The third one on this list is people ended up buying in the wrong neighborhoods. Now, not all Las Vegas neighborhoods are created equally. Sometimes you can move into a neighborhood without doing that due diligence. Maybe you've been blinded by the Zillow listing and it looks amazing on Zillow. It's really below the market average. Fantastic. I'm out of state. Can't maybe look at the neighborhoods. I'm just gonna see, can I go for that one? And believe me, some people have brought homes unseen, which you might think is crazy to do, such a big investment, but some people have been in a position where that's the only option that they've had, and they don't take that time to actually come and maybe visit or also ask a local real estate expert about those neighborhoods and what they're going to be like. They don't look at the school ratings if they're a family and see, you know, where do the schools rank on things like greatschools.org or niche.com. And yes, you can take those with a pinch of salt, but they give you at least the base level and things that are going to matter to you, because if they don't rank highly on there, they're not going to really rank highly anywhere else. So if schooling is important, then you definitely need to be looking at those, because that can make or break your neighborhood in itself if you got family. And that's, you know, that's my heart as a parent speaking. I know if my kids weren't in a highly ranked school, it'll ruin my whole experience of the neighborhood. But then they don't look at things like traffic, and maybe it's an area that's growing and the traffic is getting too big, maybe too many through roads going through the community and not a fan of. Maybe they haven't done any due diligence on the crime rates as well and what the local crime rates are. You know, there's definitely certain areas that you want to maybe stay away from if those things are going to be important. But that's why it's always important to reach out on those details on the screen, and I can have those conversations with you. I can pull up all the data that you need. I can definitely, if you say, Peter, this is important, this is important, this is important, and this is my budget, I can recommend you, you know, definitely a few neighborhoods to use as a starting point. And then I always say, if you can come and do a discovery tour and drive around and experience these communities, just by driving through them, you're going to have a feel. You'll be able to know how far it is to go to the local stores, where the local physicians are, where the local hospital is going to be, parks are going to be, how far to school, place of work, that type of thing, because that's definitely important. I would always say, because I've had it happen so many times where someone will send me a listing they saw on Zillow and they'll be like, oh Peter, this home looks amazing, I can't believe it, it's got everything we're looking for, fantastic mountain views, it's got a gorgeous pool in the back. And then I'll explain to them about the area and why the home is priced low, and then they go cold on it, because really where you live is important. It's the number one rule of real estate is location, 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 and you want to make sure that you end up in the right location. And the only way you can do that is A, working with an experienced real estate agent, and also B, doing that due diligence and giving yourself the time to do that. Number 2 on this list is going to be, they just missed the lifestyle fit. Some people move here thinking, you know, Vegas, I've been here, I know what it's like. It's going to be bright lights all the time, entertainment, non-stop things to do. And for some people that is the case, but then other people, depending on where you end up, that might not be the case. You might end up in a community where the stores might close early, or the restaurants close early, or it's really far to get to any of those local entertainment things. Maybe you're here in a 55 plus community and everything is really quiet and peaceful after a certain time, and that isn't why you moved here. You moved here because you wanted to go and do those things, but you're finding, oh, it's just too far to travel back and forth to the strip all the time, or too expensive to be going to the strip all the time. And that's a reality for a lot of people. Some people move here though, and they're adamant they don't want anything to do with the strip. They want to move here for peace and quiet. You also want to make sure that maybe if you're going to be buying here, that maybe you don't want to end up in a place or a community that is full of short-term rentals. Not that there's a lot of short-term rentals, but you don't want one of those in your neighborhood perhaps, or maybe somewhere, if you're moving into a place with condos, you don't want somewhere that has a high occupancy of tenants, even if it is long-term rentals. And that are the things that you definitely need to be thinking about, is where do I want to live and what type of lifestyle do I want? And again, if you reach out to me again on those details below, we can have these types of conversations, because all of this is important. Moving house at any time is stressful in so many factors, but when you're moving across the country, then even more so these factors are important. So definitely make sure you're doing the due diligence. And I think by watching these videos, you're definitely doing due diligence, but I think, you know, we can take it even a little bit further and make it more hyper focused on you as well. And the final reason why I think a lot of people have decided that they've had enough and they're packing up and leaving is they brought their home at the wrong time. Many people purchased their home. I'm not talking about refinancing here, I'm talking about purchasing, and a lot of people purchased their home when those interest rates were really, really low, but they've maybe overpaid for the home and the home value still hasn't caught up with where their mortgage is, and now they're feeling stuck. They're still maybe underwater on their mortgage and they're feeling trapped, and their only way out in their mind is to sell. And that's why it sometimes is really important. Timing is everything. everything, and sometimes we get caught up with those interest rates. I certainly remember what it was like in those times, 2021, 22 especially. It was crazy. We were writing offers on homes that were above asking. Sometimes we had to waive the appraisal, which I think is always a dangerous thing and something I never really want to advise my client to do. But sometimes that was the only way an agent was even going to accept an offer or consider an offer. Or you'd have some sort of gap on the appraisal, you'd pay X amount over the appraised value, because those homes were definitely selling for higher than what the appraised value was. And we all know how appraisals work. That's only the amount that the lender, whoever's doing the mortgage, that's only what they will cover up to. So it was not a good position. Buyers were coming out of pocket, out of their savings that they had put maybe for some of the other reasons that they were moving. It was just not a good situation. And some people are still feeling the heat from that. Maybe they're feeling trapped because of that. And so they've decided they've had enough. That's it. They're going. Now, if you had already owned a home and refinanced at that time, then you're laughing, because now you've locked in that lower rate on a smaller balance as well. So that was definitely a great decision. And as I said, timing is everything. And I think at the moment, there could be a little window of opportunity. We all thought the rates were going to come down. Nobody can predict what's going to happen. Like, nobody knows. We can all give educated guesses of what we're seeing in the marketplace. Right now, I think there is that area of opportunity. I think there's a bit more inventory coming onto the market. I'm seeing a lot more price reductions, not necessarily because homes are overpriced, but because now there's more competition of other homes that are being listed. The ones that are coming down in price, maybe they were overpriced to begin with. Maybe an overzealous agent just took it at whatever price they could just to get a listing on the market, which is always the wrong thing to do. When I take a listing, I involve my seller in the process, and it's something we decide together. And then we always say, if it doesn't work by this time, then we're definitely going to lower the price. Any home that's been sitting over 40 days with no price reductions, I think that's a prime opportunity that you can maybe test how serious the seller is and how motivated they are to sell. So there are areas of opportunity, and if you want to maximize that opportunity, I'd say definitely get in touch with me and we can go through it and see where there are those little patterns that we can maybe maximize and see what we can do. If anybody says they know what's going to happen with the interest rates, then I would say you turn away from them right away. There's no way that they can predict what's going to happen, but timing is everything. So my suggestion would be, when the time is right for you, then that is the right time. Okay, so we've covered a lot of reasons there why people might be packing up and moving back to where they came from, but why are people still moving to Vegas and loving it? Now, despite all of those things I've said, people still move here for the lower income tax, lower property tax, for the weather, for the no state income tax, for the lifestyle, those amazing restaurants, for the stuff that you can do on the strip, whether it's shows, whether it's music, whether it's sports. People move here for the proximity to the likes of California, Arizona, Utah. Maybe it's the ease of travel to get out of Vegas because our airport is so well connected. So people move here and they absolutely love it. And I think when you've done it correctly, so you found the right home at the right price in the right neighborhood, then I think it's going to be a great decision, and one that you will firmly back and say, yeah, this was the best decision for me and my family. A lot of my clients who I still speak to still feel that strongly Vegas is the best place they could have ended up, and they're super happy. They are happy with the whole picture of Las Vegas. But I've also had one or two people that purchased, didn't settle, and then they ended up moving back to whatever state they came from because it just wasn't right for them, and that's also okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think if you do those things, if you do plan it correctly, if you do take the time to do the due diligence, and it's not a move that you have to do because of work or school, but it's a move you're doing for a lifestyle, or you want to move to Vegas, try out Vegas, then I think it can absolutely be a great move for you. I know I'm happy. We live in Henderson, and that's one of the things we're happy about. We love living in Henderson. So I think when you do it right, it can probably be the best move you'll ever make. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it shed some light on some of those reasons why people might actually move here and not settle and move out. And also, hopefully I've given you some practical tips and ways to alleviate that as well. And a lot of it just comes down to taking your time, doing the research and asking the right questions, and having the right people working on your side makes a huge difference as well. And again, that's why I would love the opportunity. If you are thinking about moving to Las Vegas or Henderson, I'd love to give you my input and help you as well. So definitely reach out on those contact details below, and I'd love to do everything I can to keep you protected, keep you looked after, and make sure you're one of those who actually move here and you feel like it was the right decision because you had someone in your corner who was advising you, not dictating to you, but advising you and making sure that you were doing everything with everything in front of you and all that information in front of you. So definitely do reach out. And if you have liked this video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe and tap the bell for notifications, and I'll see you on the next video.